The Prime Minister says the UK is continuing to support Ukraine 100% after Moscow threatened consequences in the wake of reports that British drones have been used to strike targets deep inside Russia for the first time. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said his country has the right to regard Britain's involvement as participation in the Ukraine war. But Andy Burnham said Britain wasn't a fair weather friend. Here's our defence correspondent Jonathan Beale.
Ukraine's been stepping up its long-range strikes on Russia. Last night launching more than 600 drones towards the Moscow region. Though Russia says it shot down many, several people were injured. Nearly all of Ukraine's deep strikes have involved its weapons. Out of necessity, it's had to make its own long-range drones and missiles. But Ukraine's also been using Western weapons, including these UK-made and supplied drones. And it's given Ukraine the green light to hit targets inside Russia.
This is the UK doing what it has long said it would do, which is to support Ukraine 100% against this illegal war led by Vladimir Putin. We are providing support so that Ukraine can defend itself.
President Putin warned of severe consequences for any nation interfering in his war from the very beginning. And at the start, only a few allies, including the UK, sent Ukraine weapons, like short-range anti-tank missiles. The UK helped lead the charge to send more. First heavy artillery guns, soon followed by Challenger tanks. And then longer-range weapons like Storm Shadow missiles, capable of reaching targets inside Russia. And most recently, drones with a range of around 200 miles. Tonight, Russia ramped up its rhetoric.
We have the right to consider British missile strikes against the Russian Federation as direct involvement in the war, with all the ensuing consequences.
Throughout the war, Russia's been testing Ukraine's allies. Increased naval activity near UK shores, cyber attacks and even sabotage. And there may be more.
We should expect to see a continued campaign of sabotage or other means of covert disruption. But alongside that, maybe there might be a bit more that is testing European military readiness. So infringing on airspace, sending more ships out that require navies to have a response ready.
Russia's long viewed itself in a proxy war with NATO, but direct military retaliation still seems unlikely. Russian weapons can reach Europe, but they're being focused on Ukraine, which is still paying the heaviest price of all. Jonathan Beale, BBC News.
Well, let's talk to our Ukraine correspondent Dan Johnson, who joins me from Kyiv. Give us a sense, Dan, of just how big a role does the UK play in this war?
Well, it is significant and it's been consistent. £16 billion has been spent on weaponry supplied to Ukraine since the start of this conflict. And it's not just the drones. There are 150,000 of those that the British government has promised before the end of this year. But when you compare that to the numbers that Ukraine is getting through, it is actually quite a small proportion. They would use that many, roughly, in the average week. In the last year, Ukraine is estimated to have produced 10 million of its own drones. So it is grateful for international support, but off the record, some Ukrainian officials will express frustration at the speed of delivery of some of the weaponry that is supplied by the UK and other European nations, saying that bureaucracy sometimes means that technology only gets to them too late when this war has already evolved and moved on and their needs are different. British intelligence is very important to the Ukrainians, something they really value in terms of satellite data and imaging, which helps them conduct the drone warfare on the front line and helps them target locations that they are hitting within Russia. But one thing Britain cannot supply is the American-made Patriot missiles that are so important for protecting the skies of Ukraine against Russian missiles. And this morning that was laid bare in a village called Pecheny in Kharkiv when 10 people were killed in a double Russian missile strike. 17 people were wounded there, and they weren't the only deaths across Ukraine today, 7 more reported in cities across the east. And here in Kyiv, over the last 24 hours, there have been 10 air raid alerts, which lays bare just what the threat is to Ukraine and how much it relies on that international support.
Dan, thank you. Dan Johnson in Kyiv.